Get ready for the best news sale of the year. For a limited time, you can get 50% off an annual news subscription at inforum.news/50. That's right, 50% off unlimited access to local news so you can stay informed and connected to our community. This offer ends November 27th, so don't miss out. Subscribe now at inforum.news/50.
You're listening to The Vault. I'm Trisha Taurinskas. This is part 2 in a 2-part miniseries, The Night Kevin Mahoney Vanished. If you haven't listened to part 1, you can get up to speed on this case by checking it out now. Kevin's sisters, Kim and Michelle, didn't just recently become dogged advocates for their brother's case. They have been from the start, since they discovered he went missing in the fall of 1993.
From the very beginning, for many years, I saw a lot of detectives come and go on the case. Retired, whatever, transferred, I don't know. But so we've had many detectives on this case. You know, in the beginning, not a whole lot was done. When I would pursue it, it was, well, what do you know? What did you find out?
Even the detectives now, you know, they'll tell me that the detectives that were first on the case did not do their job correctly.
Kevin was an adult when he vanished. Like many cases in the 1990s, investigators were quick to assume that Kevin probably just took off somewhere. And like many cases from the 1990s, his family knew better. From the start, Kim and Michelle began questioning Kevin's friends. They put up plenty of missing posters around the Fargo Moorhead area. Yet something always seemed to happen to those posters.
When we first started hanging the flyers in that neighborhood, the flyers would come down.
Even in some gas stations.
And Kmart over at Moorhead, remember? We actually saw somebody taking one down, I think, way in the beginning. We would hit the neighborhood, the liquor stores, the bars
that they went to,
shelters, the bus station, convenience stores, anywhere that we could think of in that area, plus other locations, you know.
Why would the flyers come down? That's what Kim and Michelle have always wondered. To them, it was a sign that maybe somebody knew what happened that night, and they didn't want them snooping around, searching for answers. It's what motivated Kim and Michelle to continue to hang up those missing posters. It was like they were playing a silent game of cat and mouse. Only this was much more than a game. This was about their brother's life, and what could have ended it. As mentioned in part 1 of this miniseries, Kim and Michelle were the ones who led investigators to the basement of the home Kevin was last seen. Ben's basement, the party house where the going-away party was held the night he went missing.
There was a space in the basement. It had a wall, or it didn't have a wall. It was opened up. And then there had been apparently, we had heard a story that he was buried in the basement behind that wall. So we've had the detectives over there. Now there is partial of a wall, but it's different than it was then. And they also found a space of fresh, newly concrete on the basement floor. They tested it and didn't find anything. They've never found anything down there.
But Kim and Michelle wonder if maybe investigators didn't dig far enough or in the right area.
They barely even went down on the dig. And yeah, they might have run into a pipe or, you know, some situation, but there was a big area under that stairwell that they could have dug further in. They didn't. They had a forensic person from the university saying that there was nothing in the dirt or whatever it was, you know, indicating any bone, but the dig wasn't very deep at all.
Kim and Michelle are focused on the basement because of a few reasons. They were told by a credible source that Kevin never left the party that night, and that he had been killed and buried in that basement. To be clear, we are not saying that this is what happened, but that's what Kim and Michelle were told by a source they trust. I have not spoken to that source. As time goes on, without any trace of Kevin anywhere, his sisters can't help but wonder, maybe the answers they've been looking for all along are hidden under a layer of concrete where Kevin was last seen. The house, the party house, has been sold a few times now. The new owners aren't exactly thrilled with the idea of it being dug up again.
Who lives there now?
There's been a couple different owners, and the people that live there now do not like us coming around. They do not want us on their property. Last time I was with the news station, we actually had to stand out in the street.
There was something else discovered in the party home around the time Kevin went missing. There were a pair of jeans that allegedly had blood on them, found inside. Fargo investigators have taken swabs from Kevin's family members for DNA. The jeans, as far as we know, are in their possession. The Fargo Police Department did not respond to numerous requests by Forum News Service to comment on this case, so we couldn't ask them about the jeans. The police department has released numerous statements in the past, indicating investigators believe foul play was involved. As far as the jeans go, there aren't a whole lot of answers. Whose were they? And why was there blood on them? Detective Jim Ledoux, a former Fargo police detective on the case, told Forum News Service back in 2005 that some partygoers who were questioned by law enforcement officers had undergone lie detector tests, but not all of them. Ledoux acknowledged that some partygoers who were questioned moved away and, at that point, couldn't be found. It's not clear yet if they ever have been found. Kim and Michelle are turning now to those who were at the going-away party in October of 1993, on the night Kevin vanished. They're asking for someone, anyone, who knows what happened to come forward to Fargo police investigators. Kim and Michelle are also actively raising funds to get a billboard up in the Fargo Moorhead area because, despite hanging up posters and standing in traffic each year with large signs to raise awareness about Kevin's case, they still come across too many people who haven't heard about Kevin or who think the case has already been solved.
And they'll say, on my sister's things, why are you waiting 30 years to do a billboard? Well, because, when you're in that situation in the beginning,
you don't think of it.
You're not expecting that something's going to be going on for 30 years. So at that point in time, you are doing everything immediately that you think is necessary to solve the case, help the case.
Because ultimately, now their quest is about finding answers. They want closure. They want to know what happened to Kevin that night, so that they can grieve the devastating loss. He was, and is, after all, their brother.
Would you be able to tell me a little bit about Kevin growing up, your experience having him as a brother?
One of Kevin's passions was fishing. He loved to fish. He did some ice fishing as a kid. He loved to fish as an adult. The summer of him disappearing, we rented a boat and went fishing on the lake up there.
He used to love sunbathing all the time. He'd be out there in his skimpy little shorts and baby oil everywhere.
Yeah.
He loved painting, working on homes. Close to when he disappeared, like if his friends needed a babysitter for one of them kids because they were going out to the bar, he'd offer to stay home and babysit while they went out. He's just helpful. He loved kids. He was supposed to be the godfather of my two daughters. He's just a fun-loving guy. He was just a great guy who didn't deserve whatever happened to him. But
you or anyone you know has any information on the disappearance of Kevin Mahoney, contact the Fargo Police Department at 701-235-4493. For photos and images related to this case, visit inforum.com/thevault. If you want to support our work, subscribe at subscribe.inforum.com. For just 99 cents a month, you'll gain subscriber-only access to our treasure trove of case documents, images, and exclusive content. And for a limited time, you can get 50% off an annual news subscription at inforum.news/50. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, let us know what stories you'd like to see covered in the comments. This episode was written, narrated, and produced by me, Trisha Taurinskas. The Vault's editor is Jeremy Fugelberg. Thank you for listening.